Call the Winter Haven October 3rd Planning Commission meeting to order. Jordan, if you would, please take roll.
David Lane.
Here.
Mario Manigo.
Here.
Elizabeth Davis. Jennifer Fasking.
Here.
Wendy Venters.
Here.
Colin Wells.
Here.
Tina Summerlin.
Here.
And Craig Fuller. We have a quorum.
If you would, please stand for the invocation and pledge. Heavenly Father, we thank you for another beautiful day here in the city of Winter Haven. We thank you for her residents and the opportunity to serve them. We ask that you help guide our decisions. We ask these things in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Have the commissioners had a chance to review the minutes for the previous meeting?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve the September 5th meeting minutes.
I'd second it.
All right, we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, minutes are approved. I will do a brief explanation of how we will run the hearing. The cases will be read into the record. City staff will provide a presentation, and commissioners will have an opportunity to ask questions of staff. Once commissioners have had a chance to ask their questions, we will close the planning commission portion of the hearing and open the public portion of the hearing. Anyone wishing to speak for or against the case, starting with the applicant, may do so. We ask that you limit your comments to 5 minutes. Once everybody from the public has had an opportunity to ask questions or speak, we will close the public portion of the hearing and reopen the planning portion of the hearing, at which time commissioners will have an opportunity to ask additional questions or will entertain a motion and a vote. If anybody from the public thinks they may want to speak for or against any of the cases tonight, if you would please stand and we'll ask Jordan to swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this case shall be the truth?
Okay. And I believe we're starting with old business, right? Okay. Case number P-23-39, request by Latigo Winter Haven LLC to amend the Planned Unit Development Ordinance O-22-11, general location south of Coon Lake Road and lying between Lake Hart and Lake Reeves. The area covered by this request is 66.83 plus or minus acres.
Okay, I am Sean Byers. I'll be presenting this request. On the screen, you'll find the 2035 future land use map. It does have the subject property designated mostly residential suburban with some isolated pockets of conservation over wetlands. This is the zoning map. As you can see, the property is presently zoned a PUD, as the other portions of Traditions to the north and northeast, and the Lake Ashton to the south. Other areas such as the Savannah Point subdivision are zoned R2, and then we have the Heart Lake Hills subdivision, which is unincorporated Polk County. This is an aerial of the site. As you can see, it is undeveloped property. It's got areas of wetlands and some former citrus groves throughout the property. To the north, again, we have single-family residential. To the west, we also have single-family, as well to the south. To the north is primarily Lake Reeves and associated wetlands, but the Verandas community of Traditions is also located just to the north of this property. This is a view of the property from Coon Lake Road. I'm looking south into the property. As you can see, it is undeveloped, predominantly woodlands. This is looking kind of back towards the north. This is Savannah Point. And then I'm looking down Coon Lake Road, generally up towards the intersection with Thompson Nursery Road, Eloise Loop Road. The Verandas at Traditions is located on the left side of the screen. A little background on this request. Property covered by this request is located south of Coon Lake Road, lying between Lake Hart and Lake Reeves. Property contains approximately 66.83 acres and consists of woodlands, wetlands, and former citrus groves. The current PUD, PUD 22-11, was adopted by the City Commission March 14th, 2022, and allows 270 multifamily units, 180 townhouse villa units, and 33 single-family lots. The applicant is requesting some changes to the PUD. These changes include increasing the multifamily units from 270 to 324, decreasing townhouse villas from 180 to 168, and the elimination of all 33 single-family lots generally located at the eastern end of the site. Staff has also went ahead and added a provision requesting that EV parking infrastructure be provided. And this typically is involved with just having them install conduit for future installation of charging stations. Total number of units does increase from 483 to 492, so that is a modest 9-unit increase. There are no other changes to the PUD. However, one other small minor change we did make in the last few weeks since this was originally brought up. We decided to add a provision for some minor buffering along Coon Lake Road adjacent to the verandas. And those conditions are included in the fact sheet that was provided to you. At this time, there is sufficient utility and roadway capacity to support development on the subject property as requested. In conclusion, the elimination of the proposed single-family lots and the slight increase in multifamily units will result in an increase in the amount of open green space on the property, particularly on the easternmost portion of the property. The revised concept plan provides for a greater setback of the multifamily buildings from the Heart Lake Hills subdivision while preserving the previously approved setback from Savannah Point. The proposed development intensity is consistent with the adopted residential suburban future land use, and at this time there is sufficient water, wastewater, and roadway capacity to serve the petitioner's proposed development. Therefore, staff does recommend the Planning Commission recommend approval of this request subject to proposed conditions contained in the revised PUD. On the screen, you'll see this is the new concept plan. It does show the multifamily on the left portion of the site, or the western portion adjacent to Lake Hart. I don't know if there it goes. This building here has been moved slightly to the east, so it does achieve a greater setback from Heart Lake Hills. The buildings are still in the same location, setback from Coon Lake Road and the Savannah Point subdivision. The villa townhouse area is this general area, generally in the center of the site. It does contain fewer townhouse lots. And then the previous single-family area all the way over here to the east has been eliminated. And finally, this is kind of a conceptual of what the multifamily buildings would look like. They do contain a varied pitched roof line with some of the units containing balconies and so forth. And again, as I referenced the buffer along the verandas, this would be the general location where the buffer would be required. This is to provide some screening to those end properties located in verandas. As when that was developed, there was no major contemplation of a roadway running through this property adjacent to their neighborhood. This would address that. And that does conclude my presentation.
Any questions from commissioners? No? All right, seeing as we have none, we will close the planning portion of the meeting and open the public portion of the hearing. Anybody from the public wishing to speak for or against, starting with the applicant? When you approach, if you would, please state your name and address for the record.
David Reed with Madden, Moorhead and Stokes Engineers, 431 East Horatio Avenue, Maitland. And we're in favor of the application and would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public?
Good evening. My name is Linda Fife. I live at 3691 Plymouth Drive in the community of Traditions. My group was part of the community outreach that came to you last year when we first started going through this development. You notice that the last group that tried to do something here went belly up, and they ended up selling it to the Latigo Group. Latigo Group is infamous for high-end, wonderful things. The last thing I think they did was over at Champions Gate. And as Mr. Byers so nicely pointed out, we're putting townhouses, multifamily things surrounded by single-family homes, okay? One thing that concerns us in Traditions, and please make sure there's a difference between the verandas at Traditions it was once all part of, but verandas is a separate entity now from Traditions. So when you look at the very east side of this development, the proposal, all of the houses that front that side, which now is classified as open space, belongs to Traditions at Winter Haven. It is separated by about 50 feet of paved road that goes to a private house that goes out on Lake Reeves. Our problem here is that they took 33 single-family houses, and believe me or not, there's a difference between an ownership of a townhouse and renting an apartment, okay? So the 33 single-story houses that were originally planned back there are now off the docket, and we're increasing 50 apartment units. And it says open space. What's going to be open space? Next year, we're going to come here, and they're going to say, oh, we've rented out all the apartments. It looks so great. Let's put up another 55 units of apartment buildings that are 3 and 4 stories and 50 feet away from our single-family homes. Same thing on the east side, right across the fence there, is the Lake Ashton Group, okay? We talk about traffic. I was in a Zoom meeting with the Lake Wales corporate group on Thursday of this last week. I met with the Lake Ashton Community Action today, and what we know is that where Ashton North is, which is major construction right now, there's 1,600 homes going in there. On Monday night's docket for the City of Winter Haven Commission, you're asked to make another change, adding more townhouses to what is the preserve at Lake Ashton. Where that intersection comes out as you go down Thompson Nursery Road, right across from that, the Lake Wales corporate group is starting first quarter of 2024, 4 months down the road, putting in the infrastructure for 4,300 homes, home units, that are going to be just east of Lake Ashton. There is one entrance for these 4,300 units right there at the intersection of the preserves at Lake Ashton. That is in Winter Haven. So coming down Thompson Nursery Road is going to be every bit of construction that you can possibly think, between the pipes for infrastructure and everything else coming up and down that road. There's going to be another K-8 center that is going to abut Thompson Nursery Road right before you get to the RV park there as you head towards 27. The roads can't handle it. It's impossible to get, if you go down Thompson Nursery Road today, it's blocked off single lane, one direction, each direction, okay? We're concerned about the quality of life of surrounding, and people say, well, it's been previously approved. It was approved 20 years ago before all of these houses were there. Okay, our community can't stand this anymore. You've approved down Cypress Gardens Boulevard in the last few years. We have over 2,000 apartment buildings going up there. I served on the Peace Commission here in Winter Haven for several years, and in 2019 and 20, we beseeched both the City of Winter Haven and Lakeland for some affordable housing. Well, those are apartments, and I think we need to stop and regroup. Yes, we want a great tax base here in Winter Haven, but I think the quality of life and moving constantly to apartments and townhouses is ruining the concept of this community. And I've dealt with this community for 60 years, and I hope that those 3 of you that are up for reappointment on Monday nights city commission meeting will stop and think, you're part of this community. Is this what you want to see 10 years down the road? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else wishing to speak?
Excuse me, I just have some general concerns for the committee. I was wondering if I could have 5 minutes of your time. At the end, of course.
Yeah, you can come up next.
My name is Jackie Norris. I live at Traditions at 4018 Bedford Avenue. I wasn't planning on speaking tonight, but when I returned to town, we were out of town, and I got to thinking about this. As Linda said, 20 years down the road, there was nothing there. It would be great to build something. Right now, they're building up towards 27th. They're building Eloise Loop. If they put in back here, you figure these apartment buildings are going to have at least 2 people in every apartment that has a vehicle. Where are these cars going to go? How are we going to get out of our communities with all of this construction and all of these people that are hopefully trying to go to work? But the other thing, the biggest concern is we have Fire Station 3. There's already a backup for the schools when people are picking their kids up or taking them to school. If something happens and those fire engines or those emergency vehicles cannot get out because the traffic is backed up, they have no other way to go. We were thrilled when they went in there because we are a senior community. But there's also a lot of children and other families around that if something happens, there they sit in their bay and they can't go anywhere to help us. So I do wish you would take into consideration to keep adding and adding apartments and people and vehicles and not doing anything about the infrastructure that we're going to need in the future. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else wish to speak for or against this case? Go ahead, Sean.
I'll speak after everyone else has
Okay.
done speaking, but I have a few points of clarification I would like to add
Okay.
when we're done with the public comments.
Perfect.
Yes, I'd like to provide some additional information from the first speaker. I think, Sean, could you bring up the overall site plan? So there are some single-family homes left adjacent to that southern buffer. So all of the single-family has not been removed. So that's to maintain the buffer against, or the similar residential development against the existing single-family. And all the way to the east, that parcel is scheduled to be a stormwater pond. We have a lot of stormwater requirements here. Didn't make sense to put units all the way out there and run utilities and roads and stuff. It really didn't work. So we needed a pond, we needed some fill, and so that will be a stormwater pond. So there won't be any future development over on that east end. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark Wilkie, I'm with Benj Development, 609 East Pine Street, Orlando, Florida. Just a quick note, we're in partnership with Latigo. We didn't go belly up. The project is very stable and looking forward to bringing a fine quality community to the city of Winter Haven. As our civil engineers come up, we're not going to be coming back and asking for anything additional, and frankly, we're not asking for much in addition to what we're doing. We're just making some adjustments, and frankly, when we initially laid out the property, it was, the building, we knew where the building footprints wanted to go, but as we dug in further into the design, we found that with some bigger buildings, we could get some more units, and as we ran into environmental and soil conditions, and as well as soil conditions, we found, it was necessary the single-family homes just wasn't cost-effective. So in essence, and I believe in the staff report too, we're at 7.4 units per acre in here. So it's a very low-density project. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Go ahead.
I think I had like 2 minutes left, but just one point that I wanted to make is that I heard that somebody who lives in the Heart Lake subdivision community, who is on the planning commission, has their house for sale, whether it's, that's what I've heard. So if that's the case, my logic is telling me, what is that an indication of? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. We passed the 5 minutes. I apologize. Anybody else? No?
You got to make sure they're all sworn in. I don't think everybody's been sworn in.
If you would, I think we need to have you sworn in. Sure. By Jordan.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this case shall be the truth?
I do. So two things I just wanted to bring up. One,
Please state your name and address for the record.
I'm James Collette. I live at 2920 Woodward Lane in Winter Haven. So just two things I'd like to bring up. In the buffer zone, we request that there be some trees put in there that would help with the buffering. Also, I'd like you to consider that Traditions is a split community. We have a north side and a south side. We go over Thompson Nursery Road. Today, it took me 8 minutes to cross Thompson Nursery Road with the traffic out there. So as the traffic increases, which it's gonna, right, it's gonna get worse and worse out there, especially when we take Thompson Nursery, I believe, is turning into a 4-lane road out there. So I think you need to at least give some thought to what's gonna happen out there, because we have people they're walking, they're jogging, they're crossing in golf carts, and it's quite a treat to cross the golf cart out there. I do it every day, so. And today was the worst, and I crossed in a car. So 8 minutes just to cross the street. There's no light, there's no signs. All there is cars and traffic at a high rate of speed because they're all frustrated out there. And when we had the people from the transportation out there, I said, hey, the speed limit's 45, but nobody does that. And the young lady looked at me and she said, well, it used to be 60, and nobody really pays attention to 45. So just another thing to consider. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else from the public? All right, we will close the public portion of the meeting and reopen the planning portion of the meeting. Any additional questions from commissioners, or Sean, if you'd like?
Yeah, I got some points of clarity from some of the comments we heard. I'll start with Peace Creek Reserve. Actually, that request, it's on the city commission agenda for Monday night, is actually just moving a parcel that was in the county into the city that was already approved for the number of units in the county that's currently coming in. So there's no change in the unit count. Thompson Nursery Road is committed is fully committed to be funded by Polk County. So that road will be widened in the next few years. And as far as additional connectivity out there, as part of that project, Cunningham Road will tie back into the newly realigned Thompson Nursery Road, which is currently under construction. So that will also improve the ability for, in this case, emergency vehicles to access other points going south and west. And lastly, as far as traffic is concerned, typically apartments and multifamily and townhouses, they have about half the traffic generation as a single-family unit. Single-family is almost 1 trip per unit, while multifamily apartments, townhouses typically is around 0.4 or 0.54, 0.55. So there is, when you remove single-family, you're actually removing potential trips from the roadway. So, and that's all of my points I wanted to emphasize.
Thank you. Commissioners, any additional questions?
I had one question. I believe in the cases we were talking to it, they eliminated the single family, but then a comment was made that there's still single-family. Could we get just some clarity on that?
I want to say it was removal of 33 single-family homes, is that right?
That's correct, it's 33. I presumed when I looked at this that these were more villa townhouse units, but they're actually single-family lots.
But those back up to additional single-family,
That is
so it's
correct,
more of a
yes.
like-kind buffer.
That's what I was wanting to know.
That would
too.
be correct. They would, they fully abut single-family.
I have something to say. Now, these apartments are not for singles only, right, or seniors only? But they're general. Do we have any idea or an estimate of the number of school children? And is there any school nearby where these children would walk?
Yeah. First question, as far as the units, they, you know, any school children, you know, we did provide that in the staff report, but based on, yep. There would be 96 elementary, 23 middle, and 34 high school seats needed. There are two schools, two elementary schools in very close proximity to the site now, one of which is Chain Lakes Elementary, and one of the conditions is they're required to build a multi-use path that would connect down Coon Lake Road that would tie in generally across the street from Chain Lakes Elementary. And that's roughly.
So the children will be able to
The
walk to those
The
schools?
option would be there for them to walk, yes.
And there will be sidewalks adequate for this?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? All right.
Nope.
Entertain a motion.
I would like to make a motion to approve, to approve case number P 23-39, request to Latigo Winter Haven LLC to amend planning unit development ordinance O-22-11, general location south of Coon Lake Road, and line between Lake Hart and Lake Revise. The area covered by this request is 66.83 plus or minus acres.
I would second it.
All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All approved, same sign. All right, motion carries. All right, on to new business. Case number P-23-55 and P-23-56, request by Dundee Road Investors LLP to amend the 2035 future land use map on 3 parcels from industrial future land use to neighborhood support future land use, and to rezone 1 parcel from industrial light I-1 zoning district to commercial highway C3 zoning district, and 2 parcels from commercial heavy C4 zoning district to commercial highway C3 zoning district. The general location, 2400 Dundee Road. The area covered by these requests is 27.35 plus or minus acres.
Heather Reuter, Senior Planner for the record. Before you is the future land use map. As you can see, the subject property there is in the hatch. It currently has industrial future land use on it. All the white areas are in unincorporated Polk County. Immediately to the south, there is a residential rural future land use designation. As you head to the west at the intersection of Buckeye Loop and Dundee Road, there is neighborhood mixed use hub. And to the north above this property, there is some neighborhood support. As you look at the zoning map, again, 2 of the subject property parcels are C4, and the remaining one is I-1. Immediately to the west is some I-1, but we do have C3 as you head towards that intersection at Dundee and Buckeye, and also to the north. As you look at the aerial map, again, there is the medical day surgery center located at this property, and the rest remains vacant and undeveloped at this time. This is the view of the subject property. Again, that day surgery center. And a little bit more of the subject property is very wide, so that is looking more to the southeast. And then this is standing at the rear of the day surgery center, looking back at the remaining vacant land, and as well to the southwest. This is a view looking west along Dundee Road. There's a view to the north, it's undeveloped as well, and a view to the east. A little bit of a background, again, this is a request to amend the 2035 future land use map on 3 parcels from industrial to neighborhood support, and also to rezone 1 parcel from I-1 to C3 and 2 parcels from C4 to C3. The property contains a 21,718 square foot medical office for the Winter Haven Day Surgery Center. The applicant is proposing to develop the property with an additional 66,000 square feet of medical offices constructed in 2 to 3 phases. While the existing C4 zoning district would permit medical office, the existing I-1 zoning district does not. So at least 1 parcel would have to be rezoned, but we're looking at this as a holistic of cleaning up and what's the most compatible and appropriate among the 3 zoning district, or 3 parcels for a zoning district. Again, sufficient water, sewer, and transportation infrastructure to support these requests is available, but final concurrency will be determined at the time of site plan approval. In conclusion, when viewed as a whole, the Dundee Road corridor consists of a mixture of uses ranging from residential, agricultural, commercial, and light industrial. Based on the developed uses and continual change of this corridor to the more residential in the area, the requested neighborhood support future land use in C3 zoning district is consistent with this pattern. Staff therefore recommends the Planning Commission recommend approval of these requests and is forwarding to the City Commission for final action. And that completes my presentation. I stand for any questions.
Any questions?
No questions? No questions.
All right. We will close the planning portion of the hearing and open the public portion. Anybody from the public wishing to speak for or against, please come forward. And state your name and address for the record, please.
Mike Flora with Sloan Engineering Group at 150 South Woodlawn Avenue. I'm the engineer record representing the applicant for this. Just want to let you know I'm here for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Anybody else? No? All right, we will close the public portion of the hearing and reopen the planning portion of the hearing. Any additional questions, or will entertain a motion?
Make a motion that we approve and submit to the City Commission case numbers P-23-55 and P-23-56, a request by Dundee Road Investors LLP to amend the 2035 future land use map on 3 parcels from industrial future land use to neighborhood support future land use, and to rezone 1 parcel from industrial light I-1 zoning district to commercial highway C3 zoning district, and 2 parcels from commercial heavy C4 zoning district to commercial highway C3 zoning district. The general location is 2400 Dundee Road. The area covered by this request is 27.35 plus or minus acres as presented in the fact sheet.
I second.
I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Comments from staff?
Okay, go through a few things here. Really, there's only 1 item from the last meeting that's still outstanding. Those are the proposed changes to the city's alcohol sales requirements. That's moving forward to the City Commission this coming Monday, October 9th, for its second and final reading. Kind of a couple other things I want to point out. Also on the 9th, we're doing our annual National Planning Month proclamation, and each of you are certainly invited to attend that meeting on Monday evening. And last, a reminder that your next meeting, November 6th, is actually a Monday. We had to move it up a day due to the city election on November 7th. So just a reminder that it is Monday,
Monday,
November 6th.
Any comments from commissioners?
No comments.
Any comments from the public? Did you have something?
Yes, sir.
If you would, please state your name and address for the record.
Sure. My name is Craig McGonigal. I live at 811 Irene Drive in Auburndale, and we recently rented a booth at the Water Tower Farmers Market here in Winter Haven, which is why I'm here today. And I work 7 days a week to make a better life for my family. And ever since, I've been hit with fee after fee and form after form. And I legitimately have an email from the department or the Division of Food Safety wanted $660 a year plus a commercial kitchen because my wife puts Tootsie Rolls in her crafts. The Winter Haven tax receipt is not applicable to our business and many of the businesses doing business inside the Water Tower Farmers Market the way it is currently written. It hasn't been enforced in 15 years, according to my wife, and I can only attest personally to 3 years. We have never once been asked for a tax receipt. This leads me to believe the code was not written to tax people who work full-time and make extra money on the weekends. If you can show me where it was decided that our business should pay this tax and small businesses like ours were made aware and represented, I'm all ears. However, I can find no evidence of this, only verbal orders I must comply with. That is not the law or code and violates our constitutional right of due process. It takes me maybe 5 minutes to put a PDF online people can view, download, and fill. It is completely unacceptable that I must follow verbal rules not grounded in law and code, where citizens are not represented before being taxed. I have a petition here signed by my fellow tenants at the Water Tower Farmers Market, who I'm representing tonight. Management of the market asked that I not send the petition to you and stop collecting signatures, which I believe is a direct violation of my First Amendment right to petition. It is available upon request since I would like to retain my booth, and a company who blatantly violates my First Amendment rights will likely evict me without cause as well. Our Florida CFO has our back. When I received his email standing up to the IRS, it gave me hope. We have an awesome sheriff. It's a safe place where law and order prevails. Reading and listening to their words against crime and government overreach, what would our sheriff and CFO's take be on what's happening here? I asked this committee to adopt as part of its code an exemption for businesses like ours and audit itself, because during my review of the code, it shall not violate Florida law, and it appears most of the tenants at the Water Tower Farmers Market are being overcharged. Florida law provides exemptions for these tax receipts, which are not mentioned in the application or verbally. Pursuant to Winter Haven Code Section 1-13, all fraudulent applications are subject to a $500 fine. This commission should impose that fine on any person who approved a fraudulent application. That means any application where the applicant was exempt under Florida law or a tax was imposed greater than the tax associated with the proper business category of the applicant. I'm told most tenants are paying $96, when it looks to me like we largely fall under the merchants category with $6,250 in average monthly inventory, which is a $31.25 tax. Furthermore, there isn't a $96 tax listed in the merchant category. This makes me wonder, why $96? Any taxes paid in excess due to the exemption or overcharge should be promptly refunded to the applicant with interest. This isn't the America I grew up in, and not the America our kids should grow up in. I'm going to try to be more active in the community from now on to help make those changes, so our children will still have a chance at the American dream. Please do the right thing by granting us this exemption, auditing yourselves, and stop hurting small businesses in Winter Haven. We can all work together to make this a better place. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Does staff have anything they'd like to add to that?
Sure. I think what I'd like to do, that was a lot. If you wouldn't mind, I'll get your name and contact information and your information that you presented here for the public record. And to my knowledge, we implement our BTR regulations according to all state and local code, but I'm happy to look at that and provide you a more detailed answer. Can I have that information? Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I got it right, that I was looking up the right stuff for you. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay, perfect. I'll get with you afterwards.
Thank you, Eric.
Yep.
Commissioners, any additional comments? Staff? All right. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank